Okay. Well, in that case, welcome to the Archeage podcast, Into the Origin, sponsored by MMORPG.com and hosted by Sitting on a Couch. I am Amadeus, and I am today's stand-in host for Durzlla. He's out of town. And with me today, I have my co-hosts, Mark, and I have Waylock. And we have our today's guest, Hazel, which is from the guild Aurorian Empire. And he will be talking with us about guild's keep and how the different sieges happen. So, welcome.
Hey there,
Hi.
nice to be here.
So, I'll just give a fast introduction of myself. I'm a beta player of Archeage. I haven't played it for more than 2 beta weeks now, and I used to do some other podcast shows for Sitting on a Couch, so that's why I'm the stand-in for today. What have gotten me interested in Archeage is the open world PvP, mostly because I love PvP, and also the sandboxy elements of the game. I'm really interested in trying to compose music and stuff like that. That's kind of what made me get the game here today. And also I'm really looking forward to the open naval combat where you can have ships fighting each other. That's really interesting. But talking about beta, is there any of you guys that have some numbers on how many players there is in the beta right now?
They haven't really gone into specifics as usual, they don't really do that, but they have just said that the number of people who are invited to the beta this time runs up into 7 figures. So I think this time it could be that they just invited everybody before their big announcement, which we'll go into later. Yeah. But I just think they just invited everybody to let everyone have a taste for the game and just to build up even more hype.
Yeah. I know one of my friends signed up the day before the keys got out, and he got a key, so that sounds possible.
There was even some giveaways that still had leftover keys. I noticed websites had 500 and 600 keys left over even during their giveaways after the beta event had started. So there was really no shortage of invites this time.
Yeah, so that seems possible, yeah. Also, do you think that means that they'll skip the open beta? That now they are inviting all the players?
I don't think they'd skip open beta just for the name. I mean, because that's a huge draw. You have an announcement on massively.com or mmorpg.com where it says X is in open beta or Archeage is in open beta, and then you get a different crowd of people who aren't willing to sign up for a key and just want free access basically to the game, and you get a whole nother wave of people probably that didn't care about it before. So I don't think they'd skip that if just for marketing reasons.
Okay. Well, I have been playing the beta, and I've been playing a bit today, and the last time there was beta weekend, and the server is kind of filled. I know the server I played on already got a queue going for it, and it makes it quite horrible actually in some of the starting areas with getting the finish off on some of the quiz mobs. I was doing the elf starting area, and we had a zone where we had to clear out some cultists doing some horrible work to some sort of forest creatures, and they were very cute, but they were suffering horrible. But we were 20 players standing there and trying to figure out who could get the last kill on it. So is that something they're talking about, looking into, that kill sharing is not a thing in Archeage, like it is in Guild Wars, as an example?
I mean, in Terra, you had phasing, and in other games like Ion, you could jump from phase to phase and basically get a different instance of that zone, but there's no such thing for Archeage so far, and I don't think they're going to change how the mechanics work, but who knows, maybe they'll do something at the last ditch moment. But it's only a temporary thing. It's only going to be a real problem at the very beginning, and then hopefully it should clear itself up within a week of launch.
Yeah. So I don't think they're looking into a system like the Elder Scrolls Online have the new system where everyone taking the NPC will get the reward for it, something like that.
That would be cool. That would be great. But I don't think Tryon has or Exo Games has a plan to do that, though. I could be entirely wrong, and they could surprise us. That would be awesome.
Yeah. Okay. So that is something we will have to wait and see for, I guess. So one of the things I've been doing in the beta, and I was just interested what your advice is, composing songs. As I said, that is quite fun to toying around with. Have you guys been trying anything of that?
I've played around with it, but I haven't really gone into much depth with it. I've maybe copied some of the notes from the internet and tried them in game, but I couldn't really get full-length songs because when you're just starting out, you can't have more than 200 characters, I think, whenever you're composing music. But as your skill increases, you can have more and more characters each time. But it's a bit, I would say it's a bit complicated if you're having if you're completely new to music composition. It can be really, really complicated. So I think most people will just be, use Google as their best friend, find some songs, and then, or even just rely on other people, because people do sign or sell songs on the auction house. I have bought a few Outcast songs from the auction house, so just
that's
to play
nice.
around with.
Do you know if you can? I was discussing with my friend if it was possible to, when the song craft tree where you play music, if you can link the songs you craft to the skills you play on. Like you have that song that makes people move faster. Everyone is playing all the time when they're like doing trade runs. If you could like connect a song to it to make it sound different.
I don't think you can change that little tune that plays when you're doing like the speed run type stuff. Though it's driving everybody slowly insane.
Yeah, exactly.
Speed step. I don't think you can change that. That would be neat if you could. That would be awesome if you could, especially for the song for the song crafter class. Forget the entire name of it because I haven't used it in weeks. But yeah, that'd be cool. No, everybody's just gonna go crazy, and that'll be that. What you gonna do?
It's a shame. So we'll have a lot of people doing the convoy and just walking away. I was actually thinking on the classic movie Convoy. It could be awesome to like make a compose of the convoy theme song and just have it going in a long convoy. But I guess that will have to wait. So about Triumph, they have announced, as of course, there will be a PAX coming up, and they have actually said that they will have a big announcement for the game. They will state at PAX. Do you have any guess to what is that?
Well, I'm attending PAX as an enforcer. PAX is Penny Arcade Expo. There's 4 of them now: PAX East, PAX Prime, PAX Central or South or something, and then PAX Australia. But PAX Prime is the one in Seattle, and that's the one coming up next week. Tryon doesn't have a booth there, as far as I know. I haven't really checked the map real closely, but a bunch of people from Tryon are going to be there because why not? They can just fly up a nonstop flight from San Francisco to Seattle. It's like $150 if you bought it last week. And they're going to have a little party for people who are fans of their games, Rift, Tryon, all their games. But supposedly they'll have a big announcement for Archeage at that party. And my hypothesis is it's either a open beta announcement, dates and times for that, or a release date announcement. Because we're getting close to the end of the year. There's only a couple months left, and Tryon has to release the game before, next year. That was their promise. It's coming out in 2014. So there's not a better place, I think, to announce a release date. At least in a like live in person, stand up setting. They can always just release it on a news article on their website, but that's a little bit anticlimactic in my opinion. So
yeah. So you think it might be that? Have you a guess on when they're gonna put the launch? Are we talking September? Are we talking October? Or are we later?
If you look at like all the games that are coming out this year, September is kind of busted because Destiny's coming out in just September, I think, and that's huge for a lot of players, even players who don't totally understand that Destiny isn't really an MMORPG. It's similar, but it's not a real MMO. But a lot of companies are probably going to want to get out of the way of big launches like Destiny, and there's a ton of games that were coming out in October, and some got moved back to next year. But there's still a ton of games coming out in October and September. So
the World of Warcraft expansions coming out in November.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of competition coming in. So I think they're going to have maybe open beta in September, maybe mid-end of September, and then maybe push for release maybe towards the end of October, maybe a week or two before the World of Warcraft expansion. If not then maybe at the end of November. But I don't think they'll be going, straight head-to-head with it, because it's just unnecessarily hurting the game's release. So I think they will try and find the best possible time slot where they have to be a week or 2 weeks, where it can be just Archeage and no other competitors if possible.
So you are thinking the game is actually pretty much getting ready for launch, but it's not going to be when the game is ready, but when the community is having time for playing the game, actually.
They could have released, they could have released a long time ago, technically. There's a lot of things, but they wanted to add new things to the game, and they want to look for a window of opportunity where there's not so much competition that they're ignored. So not when ESO is coming out at the beginning of this year, when ESO launched, and that was kind of a window that they could have taken. So they're just looking for, a good opportunity. But I'm sure they'll have it out probably before December. Archeage has had for the past couple of years in Korea Christmas events. And if they want to do those Christmas events, I mean, you can go look at the music files in the game package, and there are Christmas music inside the game already. Yeah, it's pretty decent Christmas music too. So hopefully they'll do that event.
One of the things I have paid attention to in the beta is pretty much all of the NPCs, when you just walk past them or press on them, they talk South Korean. They don't talk English. Are they going to change that, or are we going to
probably
have Korean talking? Probably. Yeah.
No, the NPCs, as far as I know, the NPCs are gonna stay with their native tongue of Korean. At least the ones talking to you, like the auctioneer and the general merchant, stuff like that. They thought it would add to the atmosphere.
For a while, I've heard the little Daru guys, they got English voice acting with like their crazy little antics and the crazy shit that they say. So I don't know. I mean, at least that's why I've heard for a while. But who knows? We'll find out when it gets released and they say, "Oops, we didn't have enough time" or something.
So that's up in the open as well. Anything you guys think are missing before they could launch the game right now? One thing you would be like, this really need to be looked into. I know my friend I've been trying the beta with was like, that labor system, it's still not ready for free-to-play players. So he wanted to see that fixed. But are there anything you guys have been like, they need to look into this?
Mainly the cash shop. I think the cash shop needs a few revisements. I still think it's, they can still say they're testing it, but there are some items in the cash shop that either shouldn't be there, or there's some items that cost way too much. For example, the Thoroughbred certificate, it costs 4,500 credits. Otherwise, you can buy the same certificate for 500 gold. So I think there's a lot of, it's just not really a good conversion from either gold to credits or vice versa. So there's some things I don't think that they should be there, like the expansion scrolls. They should be baseline for patrons, because you're already paying your monthly subscription. So why should you have to pay even more money just to be able to have extra bag slots and bank slots? I think that should be totally baseline. I think maybe there should be another revisement of the patron system in general. There isn't really a lot going for being a patron. You can claim land easier, but a free-to-play player can do that if they put the effort in. So I think there needs to be more perks to being a patron like there is in Rift. But at this stage, I don't really see it happening.
Yeah, okay. I can see that as well. Yeah, I was I've bought the big founder package, and I was thinking I don't know what I should use these credits on, because I don't think anything in its shop was looking that interesting. So I was more looking into if I can somehow buy things off the credit store and put it on auction house and use the in-game gold to buy subscription time for myself, because I couldn't see what I should be interested in. The gliders wasn't that amazing.
Yeah, I noticed some people weren't too happy about the latest additions to the store. Like the fact that you can buy the regrade charms, and even though it says, increases your chance to regrade your gear successfully by 50% or 75%, that isn't a set amount. It's actually like 50 or 75% of your current chance. So you could, spend 2,000 credits on a regrade charm that increases your chance by 50%. But your overall chance for success still may only be 30% then. So you could be shelling out all those credits and still have nothing to show for it. And for those who haven't played, 2,000 credits is quite a lot. And that's maybe, well, not with the American conversion or the Euro conversion, but that's close to £10 worth of credits in the UK. So I'm not really a fan of that at all, to be honest.
Yeah, some stuff is way too expensive or just too chancy and not worth it. I mean, I like the gliders and things like that. There's certain items on there that are... I mean, I did a whole review from RPG of all the items in the cash shop. And the gliders are okay, but especially because they let you stay aloft for a lot longer than the basic one does. But it's not all that compelling sometimes. I mean, probably because they promised they wouldn't have best-in-slot items on there. That means that everything there is kind of wishy-washy, It's a mount. Yeah. There's mounts on there, and they go faster than regular mounts, but they don't go as fast as the mount you can get from PvP honor points. So, what's the use? I've already got the honor point mount. Why would I buy any other mount except for colors, I guess? I don't know.
Currently, it's one of the most popular mounts, especially in beta, where nobody actually has the PvP mount. It takes quite a while before you get all those points together. I have the PvP mount in alpha, which took me about, I think, a month of not too hard work, but if you would really try it, then you can probably knock it out in a week. But still, it's a lot of work. So the cash shop mounts are going to be one of the more popular items, I think.
I did the PvP mount stuff like early in alpha, so I've got like the Lightning Cat one because I've just been doing it for so long. So I take that for granted, kind of. So yeah, that perspective is probably more accurate.
So I have honor point farming is one of the things I've been looking to because I'm going to PvP a lot. Is it true that it's really hard to get the honor points by doing the open world PvP compared to the arena?
Arena is used to reward a lot more honor points than it does now, and they disabled after a little event in early alpha where they had big rewards on for the leaderboard of the arena, where people got like 10,000, 20,000, 30,000, 40,000, 50,000 honor points for being at the top of the leaderboard. They disabled that reward system, and they haven't brought it back, and I don't think they brought back the fishing contest reward system either. So it's difficult to earn honor points the way that Koreans, like the Korean version of the game, it's much easier to earn honor points in it. We have to either farm the daily quests pick up these boxes and bring it over to this catapult in one area and get like, I don't know, around 1,000 honor points or something for a daily quest, and then do all other kinds of stuff, and it'll still take you a while. Like, I don't think it's worth it without that arena reward system that they took out. So
that's also up in there right now. So
the open world still gives you the opportunity to get the mount relatively quickly. It takes only, I think, 20k honor points. And in a wartime and at the start of the game, when everybody's still questing there, then in theory you could get and rack up your honor points quite rapidly. You can get 600 to 1,000 honor points in an hour or about that. But that would mean that you would have to pick on lower players, so maybe that's not suited for everyone.
So talking about honor points, does a castle help getting a lot of those? Because I know for a fact, Hassel, that your guild have been the lucky owners of a castle for some time at least, and then it kind of disappeared because some other people wanted it the most. But a castle, is it good for farming honor?
A castle doesn't give you any honor, other than the classic definition of honor, maybe like you're very prestigious, like that sort of honor.
Could you try and explain a bit about what benefit does it give, besides being total badass that the guild got an entire castle for themselves?
I think that's the main attraction to the castles, showing off you can actually capture one and can hold one castle. There is only 4, so that's on an entire server with 10,000 people or more. It's quite an accomplishment, I think. But aside from that, you get costumes that actually show off that you own the castle. So it helps with building your image. Plus, the costumes actually give stats for your character. So
very
you get
good
more
stats.
health. You get depending on your class, you can pick different costumes. There's 3: one for the cloth, one for the leather, one for the plate. And they give very good stats, and the costumes that you get through owning a castle are the best you can get in the game, other than actually being the leader of the guild that owns the castle.
Okay, so the guild leader gets a super special costume.
That's even more awesome, yeah.
Okay.
I'm quite jealous of our guild leader from time to time. He gets another 2,500 HP, which is just a flat 3,000 for the costume, and then 500 for the lower tier costumes that you can get 2 of each week.
Are they actually good-looking costumes, or are they?
The plate one looks similar to that desert thing that they've been advertising for, like donors, I believe, right? Patrons.
Yeah, one is patrons, the same. Yeah. I think that's the plate one, right?
Yeah. Okay, so you got that going. I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I think I heard something about that you can have farmers come to the land and have land where they can farm on, and then they have to pay the guild taxes. Is that correct? Like you can be like, I'm the count of this area. You guys are my peasants. Pay me upfront.
It works sort of like that. Yeah, we don't go around saying, "Hey, peasants, pay us." We are quite.
I will do that.
So yeah.
I want to see a role.
Actually, since we lost our castle, the tax rate went up from 20% to 50%. So that's quite a hefty punishment. Maybe they're trying to scare us off the land, but in any case, there's the castles have. Sorry, go ahead.
So it's your guild people still having the land around the castle after you lost the castle.
The zones in Auroria, they have castles, and the castles get a special area around it in which only the guild that owns the castle can build. Or, well, everybody can still have a house there, but the guild master of the guild castle can destroy houses that sit there. So those houses are very vulnerable. If you lose your castle, then it gets destroyed and replaced with houses of that guild. But there's more housing area in the entire zone than just the housing area around the castle. And that extra housing space, everybody can place a plot there, everybody can build his farm there, everybody can do everything they want, and they pay taxes to the owner of the castle. And that is quite a hefty sum, actually.
Okay, so can they attack and destroy those houses outside the castle zone?
No, that's impossible.
No, they can't.
Houses are safe.
Yeah. Okay, so they're safe. Okay, I would love to see a role-playing guild having the entire castle and just be going around with, I'm the count and this is my bodyguard, and then just going to all the farms and pay up right now, I'm gonna kick your ass out of here. Okay, so that's
a band of bandits named Robin Hood and his friends, and his merry man shows up.
That would be amazing. So you get the prestige, and you get the taxes that you could put into the guild bank. And the taxes, do they go to the guild leader directly, or are they going into the guild bank until?
The guild leader gets everything. He gets his costume for the week.
Okay.
He gets lord coins, which you use to buy the costumes for your guild members, or alternatively, you can buy mount armor for your mounts. And he also gets every week at, I think, Sunday evening, he gets an email with the guild taxes, or with the taxes of the land, and that shows then, okay, you got 4,000 gold this week, but you also paid 4,000 to the alliance, which I think is the exact same amount as goes to the peace fund, which would sit on top on your castle like a bounty. So if you don't get siege, the peace fund goes up and up and up until either a guild takes it from you, or and if you successfully defend, then you get it. So.
Okay, so it's kind of a big reward the guild leader can get. So you need to have a trustworthy guild leader. I can hear can get a lot of things.
For every guild case, I think, but with castles even more. Yeah.
Yeah, even more. Okay, so I have found on Mirrod's Island, I can like buy these different pieces of a castle. So is it fully customizable, the castle? Is it like, I want a tower here and here and here and walls here, and then you can like kind of mix and match it as you want?
Within restrictions, yeah, that's exactly how it works. Yeah.
Okay, that's kind of sweet. So you can like have blueprints of it and then design it as a guild, and that's kind of cool.
Yeah, there's it's with a sort of grid that you can work with because you can't just place them totally randomly, but there's like different angles at which you can place it. So you can't make like very weird constructions, but on the basis of a grid, it's what we did. We put like a 2D map, and then we tried to come up with different castle designs, because if you just start building, then it's really hard to make something nice and that is actually defendable. So
yeah. So that's of course a big part of it as well, that you need to make something you actually can defend, and not just making it pretty.
Yeah.
How does it work when the game goes live? Like when the servers launch, is there 4 standard castles up there with NPC guards that you have to beat, or is it just like first man there, first man takes?
The Aurorian continent is going to be off limits for I think at least a week, maybe even a month, to prevent guilds coming there and instantly taking it without giving anyone else a chance to get it. But when you actually get there and when it's enabled in game, there are going to be Archeage lodestones scattered around the zones. I think some zones have 3, some zones have 2 different castle locations. So what you would do is you craft the material you need to capture a castle. You walk up to the lodestone and you start channeling it until you have taken over that zone. And then
the lodestone is those huge things, right? Glowing huge things that stands out.
Yes. Yeah, with a big sword stuck in it, sort of like the Legend of King Arthur. I think you basically have the sword in the big stone, and then you're the king of your land.
Oh, okay. So you have to first make this item. How expensive is that item you need to like create to take a castle? Is that like
it's very expensive?
Very expensive. It's more than a galleon.
It's more than a galleon. Yes, okay. It's about 2,000 gold in blood archeum crystals, which is in the start of the game. It's quite a lot of money. So it's gonna be bound to be a guild effort. So if you have a big guild, then it's a lot easier to get that money together. In addition, it's important to skill up both a miner and a weaponsmith, or someone that can actually make the materials you need to make the trade pack.
Okay. So that's quite the feat to do as a guild. That requires teamwork.
That requires a lot of teamwork, especially if you want to beat the other guilds trying to do the same thing to it.
Yeah. So how many people had your guild when you conquered the castle the first time, when you took it over? Did you build what was their castle, or did you
we sieged a castle that was already built in alpha, so we didn't do it we didn't build it from the ground up ourselves. We did so in beta, but in alpha there was already a castle pre-built. Not the best layout. It was very pretty, but it wasn't very defendable.
That was the dev castle, right? That was
exactly
what they used. Yeah.
And so we took that over without too much effort, because the defense of that wasn't all that up to snuff. But it took us longer than expected, because we were very new to it, and we tried to just punch down the wall basically without any weapons or some stuff like that. So it took us over an hour to actually get the castle, which just shooting at the walls with our lowly arrows.
How does that work? You have to knock down at least one wall, right? Isn't that the rule? And then you can attack the central?
Yes. the wall has to be broken. If you have your arcane lodestone, like the center of your castle, and then there is no wall protecting it, then it's vulnerable. And then you can, if you bring it down to no HP, then you can start channeling it, and then you can take it over.
Can you? I've been wondering if you can fly into the castle with gliders.
Yes, you can. If
Okay.
If you have a high enough jump-off point, then it's very easy. Like you can go up to a mountain and fly over and just jump in. Otherwise, you need some trickery to get in, because the walls are pretty high. So you might jump on one of the houses that's built in the area around the castle. That can make a nice starting point for your group of archers to jump in and jump on top of the roof and then jump into the castle.
Okay, so how does it work when you want to declare seats? Is it like a gentleman club where a guild leader goes to another guild leader and said, "Hello there, in exactly 6 hours, my splendid guild is going to attack you with this amount of force, and I expect you to be prepared"? Or is it sneak attacks, like in the middle of the morning when no one is online, you just sneak up to the wall and like punch it? As I've been playing like World vs. World PvP in the Elder Scrolls Online and Guild Wars West. There's a lot of castles. That is one of the things you do, just sneak take the castle. But in here, it's different. Can people just sneak it away from you, or how does it work?
Luckily, that isn't the case. You really want, and it's a lot more fun if someone is there to defend it, of course. But what happens is every 3 weeks, your siege scroll comes up on the auction house, which is basically a siege declaration. And the person that buys the siege declaration has the chance to attack your castle. And
so it's pretty much a gentleman thing. Like, I just brought the right to declare war with you. Brilliant.
Exactly, yes.
Okay,
but
that's
there's
cool.
some dirty things going on in trying to take that scroll, of course. And even the castle owner themselves is free to buy their own scroll, so they can't be sieged.
Oh, okay, so that's like a counter measurement. That's a bit boring, but...
So it's a bit boring, but sometimes it's necessary if you can't muster the forces, or if you are not prepared, or you don't have the members online at Sunday night. Yeah. In case of Alpha, it was American time, so for us it was like the middle of the night when the siege happened. So that would be tough from time to time.
Do you get a timer so you know when the siege will happen? Or
the siege is always at the same time. Yeah.
Okay, that's interesting. So how many people can you bring? It's like a fight club. I bring 10 people and you bring 10 people. It's like, too bad you only got 10 defenders. I got an army of like 100 people.
You're free to bring as many people as you want, up to 50 players to start.
To 50 players, okay. Can I bring...
you can bring less, but I wouldn't advise it, because you're going to lose your castle and that would be a pity.
But, is it only guild people?
Yes, only people in your guild. However, what has been happening so far is that guilds that lack the number to defend or to attack would invite friendly guilds or alliance members to leave their own guild and temporarily join the sieging guild.
Okay.
But so it starts at 50 players to defend, and then after half an hour, then you can bring in an additional 20 players to up to 70. So.
And if you're in there and you're not part of the guild, you get instantly like killed, automatically killed after like 5-10 seconds.
You get kicked out of there. Yeah, there is no interfering with the siege.
Yeah, so it's nothing like, guys, we are attacking this castle, come everybody, and then lots of puck players.
Yeah, it's not an ion siege. Okay. It's not like those where your frames per second dips to like 15 and you can't see anybody.
Okay.
That's nice. The case here too, if your computer isn't up to it, or if you forgot to check the right settings to distinguish enemies by color.
Yeah.
Everyone, Siege is going to have lowest setting. Okay, so I have now brought the right to attack you, and I have declared the time of attack, and I have all my friends. And I think I can't be asked to hit the wall with a stick. So what equipment can I bring along? I've seen on Mirage Island, there's like a mortar you can drive around with and like go in siege mode and shoot with, but what are there siege towers or ladders or catapults? But what can we bring?
That's exactly what you can bring, those things. It starts out with a tank you can buy on Mirage Island, which you can then craft, but you can use it anywhere anytime if you want, but it's specially made for sieges. So that indeed has a sort of siege mode which allows it to fire, but otherwise you can maneuver it around. Then there's the siege tower, which I've seen Jared use, one of the, I think, devs from Tryon himself, because I haven't actually built one, but that's a bit higher than the walls, and that allows you to roll out sort of bridge towards on top of the walls, so you can have all your soldiers swarm on top of the walls and take over the castle from the inside. And there are indeed also siege ladders which you can use to climb up, which you put next to the wall, and then you climb up and get in that way. But that's not advisable because it's like only one person at a time, so that's very dangerous.
Okay.
And that are the stuff you can bring just with you. But during a siege, there's also a sort of support NPC that helps you in the battlefield, and that spawns at your respawn location, at which you can also buy some stuff that additionally help you during the siege, which is the main reason we lost our castle, because they brought a lot of the hand cannons, the portable. It's like a portable cannon that does a lot of damage, and you can just carry on your back.
Okay.
And I think there's also one more thing, and that's the trebuchet, which is like a huge catapult you can deploy and shoot from a far distance, and does a lot of damage.
There's actually the Russian version of the game is getting a special tank that looks like a giant, like the giant Tsar tank with the giant wheels.
Oh,
and, yeah, they're getting custom stuff. And if you're a defender, you can make powder kegs that you can kick down, a wall or at a group of people, and it'll do.
You can actually do that already in Tryon's version too, powder kegs, and you can use them as attackers too.
Yeah.
Do we have like cannon towers or archery towers, like where we can, get cool equipment as the defender as well?
The defender has the towers you build to make your castle can actually also be towers with a cannon on top. You have like multiple choices. You can either have like a nice tower with slots through which you can fire at your enemy if you're an archer, or you can build towers that have a cannon on top that allows you to rain down cannonballs on top of your enemy.
Sweet. So you're talking a bit about something with a respawn. How does it work when you're in a siege? Like, if you die as a defender, are you done for? Or can you respawn in the castle?
No, both attackers and defenders respawn, both at their respective respawns. The attacker spawns a bit outside the castle at a pre-chosen spot by the person declaring the siege. Has some options to where he wants to start with his invading army, and that's also where they will respawn. And then the defending army, aside from the lodestone, there's another preset location on which you have to build your castle around, and that's the defensive respawn, and that is a sort of circle floating a little in the air on which you respawn if you die as a castle defender.
Okay. So, are there a small cooldown on how fast you can respawn, or is it just instant back in the action, or how does that work?
It's almost instantly. It takes a while, and depending on how fast your computer is, it can take a while. We have some guildmates that take like a minute to load, so they are maybe not the most optimal choice for your defending your castle.
Okay. So how does it work if you always have to bring down a wall, even if you like 2 siege towers and gliders, and you just have all of the walls filled with your guild people, but you still need to bring down a wall, or can you go down like and open the gate and then storm the castle?
We have tried some experiments with that, but you need to bring down at least one of the walls to start channeling the lodestone. However, you can start already attacking the lodestone before the walls are down. However, it's somewhat protected. It gets a buff depending on how much walls and towers are still alive and whether the big front gate is still alive. So it takes more damage the lower amount of towers you still have alive as the defender. And just a small anecdote, we've tried to siege one of the enemies on Alpha together with some friends of ours, friendly guild, the White Order, and they actually came up with a tactic where they would go up to the highest mountain, start flying in towards the castle, and then have their archers levitate with the float skill and shoot down the enemy lodestone from above, and actually bring it down quite low that way. So there is still some tactics to be worked out. It isn't always preset, like you have to bring down that wall first and then you can get it.
So how expensive is it to do a siege? Like, first you need to buy this thing that allows you to actually do the siege, and then you like blueprints, I guess, to build mortars and tanks and I know what. How much are we talking about? Is that also up in?
That would be depending on how much you're willing to spend. But actually, the most expensive stuff is going to be paid with for honor. So, like your hand cannons and your trebuchets that you buy from the supply NPC in your base, that actually requires honor to buy. So you will have to PvP outside of sieges to be able to afford that. And then you have the powder kegs, you have the tanks. That's thousands of gold are going to be spent on those materials if you want to. And the scroll, that's entirely up to the community on your server. There's going to be servers where it's going to be relatively cheap to buy a scroll. There's going to be servers where it's going to be 10, 20, 30k for a scroll. For last siege, the winners that took our castle, they paid 26,000 gold for our scroll. And in addition, another 26 for the other scroll that was up at the same time. So that's 50,000 gold at least. That's a lot of money.
So we are talking about big investments.
Yes, but it pays off to have a castle, because you get, depending on what you put your tax rate at, it's anywhere from I think 3,000 to 8,000 gold a week that you actually can make from your castle.
Okay, that's a lot of money.
Yeah.
So how do you manage such large scale warfare? All on TeamSpeak, Guild Leader, but how do you is it easy in the game to have an overview of the attacking castle, or does it fast get very confusing, or what was your tactics?
It's for us, it's still practicing and getting to learn it, but it's actually pretty hard. In one of the previous patches, try and lock the zoom distance, so you're basically locked in an action mode. From a third person, you can't see too much, so it's hard to get a big overview. So it's might be beneficial to have the raid leader or one of the commanders actually have an overarching position, so they can actually see what's happening and what's going on.
Gliding around.
That's very hard. Yeah, if you want to command 70 people and you don't have the overview, then it's going to be a big mess. So that's something that's worth considering, in my opinion, because some games that have like a commander overview function, I think Battlefield has that you can sit in the map view and actually see everything from the top. That would be nice to have in Archeage during sieges, but yeah.
Okay, and it sounds like a lot of fun to me.
It is a lot of fun, yeah. Even though we lost, we had a blast doing it.
Yeah, but you'll get it back, of course. So how does it work when you take a castle from someone? Can you then destroy the entire castle and just bring everything to the ground and then rebuild your own?
Yes, you can destroy all the walls, and it takes a while to destroy the walls because the guild leader, the castle owner will put a debuff on the wall, so they go down a bit quicker than during a real siege. But still, it's a lot of work to break it down and then build it back up. And the walls aren't cheap to make. After a couple months, then you can just demolish your castle and build it back up. But if you just start out with the first castle, then your walls are gonna cost stone bricks, and your towers are gonna cost stone bricks and wood, and the staircases you build on the inside of your castle are gonna cost lumber packs, and that's not cheap and easily made. So it's a tough decision whether you want to destroy the entire enemy castle and build your own, or whether you think, well, maybe we can repurpose those parts and then build on that.
Okay, so all in all, it sounds like quite the huge workload for even big guilds. That's not something easily done, but that's kind of cool. It's like in-game project for big guilds.
Yeah, I think Jared tried to build a castle all by himself, He was one of the first alpha players, and he by the time the people that bought founders packs got in, which is after a couple of months, the castle wasn't done yet. So if you don't have a big guild, then it's possible, but it takes a lot of commitment and hard work. So it's a lot made easier if you have a guild and friends to help you out.
Yeah, I was part of that guild before Alpha got really opened up to all the people who bought it. Like for a couple weeks, it was just invite only, and I joined up with that guild. And it was tough. Like he was basically on Aurora 24/7 crafting stuff and just asking for people to send him raw goods, raw stone, raw wood, stuff like that, so he could build more walls because it still wasn't done.
Okay. So I have heard something from you guys that there is right now on the alpha server one guild sitting on all the 4 castles. Is that correct?
That's correct. Yes.
Yeah.
Forest
Crow.
So how in the world are they managing to do that? Can you like 4 sieges on each of their castles at the same time?
No, the castle scrolls at the moment go up 2 by 2, and then a week. So there's 2 scrolls coming up this week, and then the next week there's another 2 scrolls, and then the 3rd week is a week of break.
Okay. So how did they manage to do that? I thought that guilds only could have like 1 castle.
Their main guild only has 1 castle, but it's possible to make additional guilds. So then you would just make a new guild and invite all your players from your old guild and bring them all in, do the siege, and then everybody goes back to their own guild. But the guild leader for that fake guild or that temporary guild has control of the castle. So now you own multiple castles.
Okay, so that's something that kinda could be fixed with like having restrictions on when you leave a guild that are consequences about it. So some games you lose like your access to the guild bank and stuff like that.
That would be a way to prevent it. Yeah, that's up to Trion whether they want to prevent it or not. But I think it would be a good addition because controlling more than 1 castle will sort of discourage other people from playing actively on the server because it's like there's this massive force, we can't do anything anyway. So let's just leave it for what it is. But I think during the release, it's going to be a lot tougher for guilds to take 4 castles because the competition is going to be real. In Alpha, it's sort of like the end of Alpha. Guilds are moving on to Beta to play with all their members because there's quite a high threshold to join Alpha. It's like $150 or almost the same in euros, I think, with taxes.
Yeah.
So that's a big thing that stops a lot of guilds from bringing in all their members to Alpha and basically giving them the competition they need to not be able to take 4 castles at the same time.
Yeah, even just a simple cooldown on guild changing would do. Like whenever
that's the best fix that would be possible, I think.
Yeah, and the day we lost our castle, that the Forest Crow, they all joined 1 guild and then led siege to New World Order's castle and took that, and then they all changed into another guild and then attacked our castle and then took our castle. So they could take half the castles in Aurora within 2-3 hours, and I don't really think that's kind of. I want to be using the word fair very carefully, but I don't think it's really intended to be that way. But it'll not be on live servers. I don't think there'll be a lot more competition, and there'll be a lot more organized guilds. And as time goes by, everyone's once live servers, everyone's starting at equal. So everyone has an opportunity to get a castle because right now, the guilds that worked very hard pre-patch, the pre-1.2 patch, they have a lot of awesome gear right now. Whereas post-patch, it's very, very difficult to get the good gear. So right now, it's kind of a little bit unbalanced, but on live servers, I can see it being a lot different.
Okay. I could see it's a problem for the end game as well if they sit on all 4 castles because that looks like a lot of income to 1 guild that they could use to get away with things.
Yeah.
So okay, so that's interesting at least to think about. I think we could finish a bit off with talking about how much of a big thing it is being in a guild in this game and being a big group. The latest 2 games I've been playing is the Elder Scrolls Online and Guild Wars 2 that I've been committed to, and there I have been kind of able to just get away being myself and being a single player and not being in a big guild when I had to do stuff. But that doesn't seem like something you can do that much in this game. I mean, my first trade pack run ended with me being dead in the roadside after some bandits jumped me because I thought, yeah, I need to get far away, and I guess I'm not the first one ending up like that. But it's a big part of being in a guild in this game. Is that right?
Definitely, yeah. I've played since I joined Archeage. I was in my guild that I'm in now, so I couldn't really tell you what it is to be a solo player in Archeage, but I imagine it's pretty hard. Yeah.
It is. Like I didn't even join a guild until I reached level 50. I just wanted to experience the game myself, get to learn everything before I went into the whole world of being in a guild. So I went 1 to 50 solo, and looking back at it now, it's so difficult to get things done, especially the cross-continent trade packs. Because you need those for right now for crafting materials. You need to do it to get your large scarecrow farm, and when you're a solo player, it's just not possible because there's always somebody from the other faction waiting there for people to bring their packs in, and then they just kill you. So being in a guild gets things done a lot faster, a lot easier, saves you a lot of hassle. It's better in the long run, especially if you're out and see with trade packs, you get attacked. You mention it in guild chat, and before you know it, there's a whole raid group showing up to help you and kill off the pirates. So we've done that a few times in Aurorian Empire.
Or if you see like a fishing ship or something, and you tell your friends, free money, let's go grab this fishing ship. It's impossible basically to do things alone, so you need help, because 1v2, unless you're some kind of massive pro or you've got like the greatest gear on the planet, you're going to have a tough time killing people.
It's just the old-fashioned strength in numbers, really.
Mm-hmm.
Are we looking for a game where we will have some huge behemoth of guilds with like hundreds of members being the one controlling the games because smaller guilds don't stand a chance? Or is it possible for smaller guilds to like team up in like an alliance and fight against these behemoth of guilds that we know exist?
It's possible. Like, we've seen smaller guilds stand up to Zerg type guilds. Like in Alpha, we had a massive Zerg guild that was full of a lot of new players and a couple players that had really good, equipment and stuff like that. But basically because they were gods to the rest of their guild, and they got those kind of advantages. But you could still stand up to them because a lot of their players were unskilled or had really bad, equipment, armor and weapons, and it didn't take so much to kill them when they rely on like one guy to be their tank and like 5 healers to focus on that tank. You can kill everybody else and they won't know what to do. So
they got that. So, but now guild will be important no matter what. So how good is the guild system? Is it easy to manage the guild? Is it an easy way to use the guild bank and set up ranks? Or is it a bit of a bad system? I haven't been able to play around with it yet myself because I've been being solo player as I am. But how is the guild system? Is it good?
It could be better. I think
it could be better.
They've got ranks and stuff, so I mean, it could be totally worse. It could be like systems in Ion or other places where you only had like one rank, or was it Terra? I forget. It was like leader and then everybody else. So, but there's no guild bank.
Feature.
Go ahead.
So, what would you like see added to the guild to make it better? What I'm missing? What would you think?
It needs a guild bank right now, as Mark just said. There is no guild bank, so a guild bank would be, I think, I would consider that a must-have for any guild. Right now, a guild is just, you look up your guild UI, it's just a list of people who are all in the same guild. There's no other, guild. There's no like guild perks like you have in other games like World of Warcraft. There's, like I said, there's no guild bank. I think I would like to see some things like to make the guild work better together, like guild challenges, guild quests, to take on some large scale projects, other than the castle. I'd like to see just more team focused, guild focused gameplay. But it's early days yet, so hopefully we can just see the whole guild system in general advanced than its current state.
Me and my friend talked about. Go along.
My main disappointment in the guild system is the lack of a history of a log of what actions happened in the guild and stuff like that. Which is sometimes a bit confusing. The bank I can live with, because you can build a castle, you can build a big mansion for your guild, and then you can put chests in there, and then everybody can come in and take stuff from that and put stuff in there. And I think it creates a sort of live interaction that everybody has to show up to one place to get their stuff. And I think that's something that we could live without like a big guild bank that works like the warehouse. But then again, you would probably want a log of wood to quad, because now it's like try to hunt for a thief. That's impossible.
Me and my friend talked about that it could be nice if you like had, as you said, a history, but like the guild crafted its first clipper, its first galleon, its first trade ship, built the first mansion and stuff like that as well. So you could like have that sort of community in the guild. That could be interesting as well. How do you think that guild being such a big impact on the game, is it a positive thing or is it a negative thing? Do you like it or do you dislike it?
That's the kind of game it is. It's definitely in Korean, and it's definitely based on having big groups of friends or alliances and things like that. I mean, eventually you'll be able to join up multiple guilds into a new faction, so that'll be cool, but it's not a game meant for like solo players like we were talking about earlier with like Guild Wars 2, where a lot of the content is meant to be you running around by yourself. Archeage, a lot of the content is you running around with friends, and taking on things that you wouldn't normally take on one-on-one unless you were super overpowered. So
yeah, okay. What do you the rest of you think about it?
Well, I think that the guild system, as it stands right now, it is very much a guild-based game, because there's certain things you can do alone, but you can do much more efficiently with a guild. Saving up, for example, to buy a merchant ship, which is now like 400 Gilda stars, and obviously guilds will want to have them to do mass trade runs. That is something you can do much faster in a guild working together than you could do working by yourself. So you can do almost everything by yourself, but you'll have a very difficult time down that road. It's just much easier, save yourself the stress, save yourself the time if you just join a guild, work together, and then enjoy the benefits of the game more easily. So I think it's more or less mandatory to be in a guild. You could just be a solo crafter and seller, but in the end you're not really getting the most out of the game. If you want to get the most out of the game, then you should be in a guild, because then you can take part in large scale trade runs, PvP, castles, and soon to be factions whenever that comes around.
Yeah, and something like trade runs or piracy, or even fishing, if you do it without a group of people, with friends or a guild, either one, it's nearly impossible. And the game is built around being with multiple people. Even if you look at the galleon, you have a driver, you have someone on the radars, and then you have a total of, I think, 8 cannons on the galleon. So that at least that makes like 4 on each side. So that's 6 people at least per galleon. And if you see like an army coming at you of multiple galleons, a trade ship, some clippers, then there's a big group there. And if you're by yourself, then there's no point in trying to fight that.
So all in all, you guys kind of like that it's a more group-based. I personally think it's nice to see an MMORPG actually looking more into the massive part and say, yeah, you have to play with people. But what do you guys think?
I enjoy it personally, to an extent. There's sometimes where you can have issues with, guilds where there's obvious like favoritism going on or other things going on, but you'll have that in every guild, in every game. So it's not special to Archeage. It's just that comes with the territory. This game is a certain way, and you're going to have to make some friends to be successful, because running around alone is not going to get you very far very fast. You'll get somewhere eventually, but it'll take you longer to get there. So
it's also the whole definition of the genre. It's massively multiplayer, so having it like the way it is now, is you can actually make friends a lot easier, because you're in a guild, you're in a close-knit group, you get to know new people, you get to talk over TeamSpeak or Ventrilo, and then you kind of make new connections, make new friends that way. And every online multiplayer game is more fun whenever you have friends to play it with. So I think it gives it a bit more longevity in that regard because you're forced into, interacting with other people and making friends. So it'll, that fact alone, having friends to play with, that'll keep you playing yourself over a longer period of time.
Do you guys actually know if they will have server transfers? I know that's one of the things that when that hit World of Warcraft back in its days, a lot of server community disappeared because you could like start doing things and then just transfer server, and reputation started to fade away and stuff like that. Do you know if they will have server transfers in Archeage? Have they announced that?
Probably eventually. They'd have to. I mean, that's kind of a normal thing, especially if they shut down some servers and things like that.
Yeah, it's been talked about, but they said it won't be available for launch. So maybe we can see that maybe with the introduction of the future patches, maybe 1.7 or maybe 6 months, a year down the line, they'll introduce that. But I don't think it'll be necessary to have it right away. So I'm not really too worried about it not being there because all the servers are new anyway. So there's not really going to be any need to server transfer right away.
Yep.
Okay. So I think we are about running out of time. Is that right?
It's about 3:30. I think we've been going for what, like an hour?
Been going an hour now, yeah.
Are there any questions we could in the chat? I haven't spot anyone right now.
Zootastic in the chat is complaining that our questions suck, so I want to see him ask some better ones.
Okay. I'm sorry about that.
Nah, it's his opinion. Let's see what he's got. But yeah.
Actually, I was wondering, have they announced when they will bring in the patch that can get us to level 55? Isn't that what they can be in the Korean?
Right now, yeah, I think so. 55 is the cap. But I think they're taking out the library, the encyclopedia room for us. So, and that was kind of the level 55 questing area, along with the Diamond Shores or whatever it's called. So, who knows? That might be in a while. I'm pretty sure we'll probably have a cap of 50 for at least a while before Tryon decides to put back in 55. Could be wrong.
Okay.
Let's see.
So is he coming up with a question? Are we about to round it up?
Kex asks why Hazel was so bad at defending castles. Now that's kind of personal. It's kind of mean.
Did Kex ask that? Yeah, he's probably asking why I couldn't defend his castle. That's my guild leader, so he's probably a bit annoyed. Yeah.
So how did you actually lose it? Was it just you wasn't prepared, or was it like?
To be fair, some of our players already left for beta to play with the new guild members of ours, and we came back. Especially we mustered our forces, especially to defend our castle, because we knew Forest Crow was going to try and take 2 at the same time. So we had to ask some of our friendly guilds to also hop on in our guild and help defend. But sadly, we failed to do so because, in all honesty, Forest Crow has the most active player base in Alpha still, the best gear. They've been doing the 50 raid instance, the 10-man dungeon, numerous times with their guild. So they have the gear to hold 4 castles on a somewhat dying Alpha server. Yeah.
Yeah, just a combination.
It combined with a good strategy. I think they stole that from Korea. I've seen it in some videos from the Korean people trying it that way. And what they basically do is they group up with a strong cluster of good geared people, and then they put down their imprisons and protective wings. So it's a massive stronghold of people that you can't break into. And if you try and jump in there, then you get CC'd and the AoE start flying. And they have their people come up with nice special builds, specially tailored towards doing exactly that, taking castles. Because if you just come on in there with any build, then that's not as effective. So it's a combination of a lot of things. Like you need a good strategy, you need a good gear, you need the right number, and than a lot of practice, because to be fair, they took 4 castles. Our castle was the last one they took, so they had practice trying it 3 times before. So by the time they came to us, they had it perfected down. So yeah.
I'm still going to keep believing that we would have won if it wasn't for the horrible server lag.
Yeah, that's
that's how I believe.
Something. Yeah, that was pretty awful. But we're in a European guild mainly, so we already had the delays that you get when you connect to a server in America.
Yeah.
So that's some downside. But to be fair, I've been playing on beta, and the servers are perfect so far. At least mine is. So maybe that's because I live right next to Amsterdam, and I have like 3 pings. So yeah.
Yeah. I'm playing on.
In regards to our Siege, the better guild lost.
Well, I don't see any other questions, so I think that's about it.
Seems like it.
That seems it.
Yeah.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thanks for coming here and telling about the castle. That was very interesting to hear about. That is one of the things I'm looking forward to a lot. So, and thanks for the other people for being here, and thanks for living with me as the stand-in host. The next time your primary host, Durzlla, will be here again.
Thanks for coming by, Amadeus.
Yeah, thank you.
All right. Well, I guess just